Notification volume 0%.
Good afternoon. BlindPrime here, and this is Blindformers episode 6, where we're going to talk about Warpath today from the War for Cybertron Kingdoms line. Now, Warpath is a fun little guy, because he's got all the whams and the zooms and the kabooms. He's a lot of fun. I like him. I have him here set up in front of you with his little shield, which is a part of his parts forming, but he gets a little Zaku style shield from Gundam 0079. So, if you can't see or need some blown up images and stuff, check out those shields because it's very similar. It's just a bit more rugged and modern looking than that weird rounded stuff. So, height wise, he is 17 studs tall. No, he's not the tallest of the deluxes, but he's not the shortest one either. He's in the mid-range of deluxes. Now, I took off his Kablowie effect because we're about to transform him. First off, remove his shield, which, I think is kind of a neat little piece addition. Never had a shield for him before. But then again, I've never owned a Warpath before, so I'll take it with a shield if it means I get a Warpath. First off, put both of your thumbs on his back panel, his butt panel, and take both of your pointer fingers, put them on either one of his shoulders, and then with the rest of your fingers, you want to brace on the turret, not the part of the turret that has the turret gun, but the actual other part of the turret. And with a little bit of a flick, you can bring his entire shoulder assembly down. Now, before you while you're bringing it down, use your thumbs to slide that butt panel upwards, and it'll take a little finicking, but once you do it, the shoulder assembly, that entire weird looking bar, will be below the butt panel. Now, on this turret, you'll find there's a siege port that has been revealed on the back of the turret. Now, drag your finger behind Warpath's head here and fold that turret, siege port backwards, because that siege port is on a hinged little door. And it will fold backwards, revealing the inside where you can find the edge of the gun barrel. So you want to pull the gun barrel out. There you go. It extends all the way. Once it has extended, you can then have the room and space to roll Warpath's head backwards 180 degrees so that his head fits in that negative space, and the bottom of his head reveals to be the top of a hatch for a turret in a Sherman tank. That's kind of neat. Now, let's move over from his arms. We will get back to his arms, trust me, guys. But you can, if you want to move them out of the way, turn them so that the treads bits are facing upwards, and we will get into what else to do with them in a minute. Let's get to his feet, because his feet are the problem part. They can be difficult to describe because they do some weird stuff. So, take him, set him down on the table, face his chest towards you, and once you do that, there will be a leg on the right-hand side and a leg on the left-hand side. I know it will be it's stage right and stage left for him because he's facing you. But take the right foot in your right hand and take the right leg in your left hand. Now you want to kind of fold. When you have this, you want to twist the right foot left. And it will go on a hinge and turn almost 180 degrees to then kind of line up with a panel on the back of his leg. So now his foot is facing backwards and it's on the inside of his leg. We want to continue that process on the other side. So grab the top of the leg in one hand and the bottom of the foot in the other, preferably near the heel, and then twist on that hinge 180 degrees. So now we forced him to do kind of a splits thing. You can snap it into place a bit. Now, once that's done, you want to take his legs near where they hinge to the hip, and you can spin them on that 360-degree hinge there. You want to spin them 180 degrees so that the feet that were once on the inside of his legs are now once again on the outside of his legs. And we have visible the kind of the hollowness of the interior of the thigh on both legs that is facing outwards now. After that is done, we can fold both of his feet upwards. You feel on his leg near, after his thigh, drag your hands down past his knee, where his knee obviously now bends in the wrong direction because his feet are facing backwards. You can feel that little hinge area, and take his back of his heel and you can fold it upwards so that that panel covers the negative space that existed there. That's pretty neat. Now we have a problem though, because these things need to kind of go together. That each side of the tank, the front of the tank, which it's obvious the legs are becoming the front of the tank, need to go together, but they can't because these legs are still in the way. Yeah. And we want to take the inside of his lower leg, and if you feel right below the knee, there's a panel that has a hinged panel on it that can move up and down. And it looks like it can move all the way down 180 degrees to lay flat, but the leg is in the way. So you feel with your thumb that the inside of his leg is actually its own little piece that is sitting out a bit more, like a little ledge on the side of the panel that has the hinged panel that moves up and down. You want to fold that downwards. You just push on it a little bit and it will fold downwards and then snap into the inside of his foot, which is now the front of the tank on each side. Once those two leg pieces have folded inwards, then the panels on his legs that were floppy can now fold their full 180 degrees, and they have little male ends and little male pegs that you can plug into the little bitty ports on the insides of the feet, or the back of the heel panel. There you go. And now we can fold his legs up a bit more to reveal a very loose front of a tank. Now, back to the back of the tank, where we got the weird butt panel. Just try and get the butt panel. You move your fingers through and wiggle it around a bit till the butt panel moves outwards and upwards towards the top of the turret. Then reach inside of it, and with your finger, there's a little rectangle peg looking thing that your fingernail can just barely grab. You want to grab it and pull it just a bit, and the under area of that panel will fold outwards. And that's all we're doing with it right now. We're going to focus on the arms for a moment. Just wanted to make sure that panel was loose and out of the way because you may have trouble with it later. These arms have treads attached to their wrists, or the forearm, attached to the forearm. The treads, if you feel, you're like, well, that feels weird because there's a tiny bit, there's the back end of a tread or the front of a tread that seems to be folded in on the middle part of a tread. You're like, okay, that's odd. If you use your fingers, you can feel where the elbow joint is and that there's a hinge there. You can feel where both of those pieces of tread connect. So go to the other side of the hinge, and you want to get your fingernail in where that tank tread comes to a point. It's obvious the back or the front of a tread. And then put one finger on the rectangle bit of tread, that's the middle part of a tread, and then use your fingernail to hinge out the back tread bit so that it now lays flat, and you can totally feel a nice stretch of tread for the tank. Do the same on the other side. Now he's kind of reaching for the sky still. We want to fold his arms So take his arm and fold it counterclockwise on both sides. So his hands are coming to his feet. And now here's a bit of a, got to hinge him around a bit. And this is going to just take you working it. Because it's all little things are going to move around and you're just kind of got to feel it. But each of his hands are going to go into little bitty squares of negative space in there, kind of like he's shoving his hands into some pockets that you've built by transforming his feet and legs into the front of a tank. You've made those 2 pockets for his fist to go into, and I really, really enjoy it whenever Hasbro figures out a way to hide the arms and the feet. Not the feet. The arms, the feet, and the hands. Like, if you can hide all of those things, you're doing good. Especially if you can figure out how to hide the head on top of that. But the head's usually given. I always expect the head to be hidden. Just a little upset with Double Dealer. But I'll get into that one when I get into Double Dealer. Oh, take his back panel where his back butt panel and that little hingy spot actually fits perfectly well within the shoulder assembly. There's that little dip that goes down 45 degrees and then across and then up 45 degrees. And that little panel that hinged out of his back butt panel fits perfectly well. Now, let's take his parts forming piece because he's still kind of a loose tank. Flip him upside down so that his turret is in the palm of your hand and his treads are facing towards the roof. And use your finger to reach in between the treads on his front half. And you'll feel that there's 2 little bitty rectangle ports. And if you look on his Zaku shield, you will find that there's the very tip of it where it folds over. You'll find 2 little male ports that are rectangle. You want to just put the shield over his undercarriage a bit and slide those 2 ports in so that we can get a nice tank feel to this guy. It's going to take you a minute, but once you get it in there, it will be in there and it will be solid. There, you will hear a nice satisfying click. I love it when I hear a nice satisfying click. So, there you have it. He is now in his tank mode, and as tank modes go for Transformers, it's pretty good. I've seen some pretty big fails with tanks. He's got a turret that moves, pardon me, moves 360 degrees. His turret gun moves up and down. It even can go in and out for little explosions, like, it fires, and if you did imagery and stuff, you can have it move back and forth as a real tank does. Its gun barrel is on hydraulics, so it can actually move backwards when it fires. So that's pretty cool. In his tank mode, he is 14 studs long, and for a little bit of a comparison to the smallest of the deluxes, we have Cliff Jumper here. And when you put Cliff Jumper tailgate to back of treads, or taillights to back of treads, you find that they are actually I'd say that Warpath is 1 stud to 1/2 of a stud longer than Cliff Jumper. Cliff Jumper's totally got the bigger gun because Cliff Jumper always has to compensate. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed my pals and kazings and Transformers. Zoom out. This has been BlindPrime, and I hope you've enjoyed my show. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.